What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Biden had a bad day yesterday. It's been 24 hours since since he went through what he went through, but I don't think there's any way to deny, any way, shape, or form to deny that President Biden had a bad Thursday. But we're going to be asking a simple question, predominantly to, or mainly to liberals, folks that are on the left side of the aisle, my Democrats, my progressives. Biden is not shaking the image that he's too damn old. He is not shaking that image. No matter what he says, no matter who defends him, he is not shaking the image that he is too old to be commander in chief. Big dog, yeah! Starting the show out right with the hat and mustache. Thank you very much. He's not shaking his image. A large portion of the American voting public believes Biden is not there mentally. Different degrees, different percentages, but folks do believe Biden is in cognitive decline. Far less folks feel the same about President Trump. And when I say folks feel that Biden is in cognitive decline, we're not just talking about all Republicans or MAGA. It's a hell of a lot of liberals saying the same thing. So the first question we're going to talk about today is, what can Biden do to restore, or at the very least improve, his image? And then as a side note, why is it that even though Trump sometimes has gaffes as well, there's no aura of cognitive depreciation floating around Trump? Fact is, it doesn't matter how many mistakes Trump makes verbally or grammatically on his Twitter account or whatever you want to call it, X. Folks on the right don't give a damn about that. So are folks on the left holding their candidate of choice, Joseph R. Biden, to a higher standard than MAGA would hold Trump? If so, why is that? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. What can Biden do to improve his image? And why is it that Democrats seem to hold Biden to a higher standard than Republicans hold Trump? The program is, always will remain MAGA friendly in its entirety. Understand, MAGA are always my preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. We make it clear on every program we don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. So when you come in the box, if you disagree with someone else in the comment section or yours truly, no one gives a damn. It's all about free speech. So we don't censor or limit anybody for their opinion or try to even dictate what a person should say. Looking in the comments right off on YouTube, because it's not an image, he is a legitimate mummy. Yikes, Chris starting it out pretty harsh. Now, I've heard the Weekend at Bernie's jokes and things like that. I don't think Biden has gone that far, but damn, Chris. All right, look it in the comments. I just can't believe that anyone would even consider Trump as president. There's a lot of legitimate reasons to consider Trump or Biden. You don't see a single legitimate reason at all to support Biden or Trump. You said Trump. You don't see not one legitimate reason for a voter to vote for Trump. That doesn't make any sense. Looking in the comments, and I do appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. We can start it out, get your boy up to 5,000. We got 500 plus of you in. I'm going to go straight to the box. Won't rap to you too long. I do appreciate that, though. We'll start it out with Moo, the Tuxedo Cat. Always a pleasure having Moo on. That's the question we're asking. Good afternoon, Moo. What can Biden do to restore his image? Do you believe he had a bad day yesterday, first of all?
No, I mean, he's in cognitive decline. I mean, I don't like the liberals that come onto your show and try to pretend like the dude isn't in dire straits and he's just fading right before our eyes, you know what I mean?
Damn.
I'm a progressive, right? And I'm willing to say it. So you guys should be willing to say it.
Wait a minute. Think about what you said. The dude is fading right before our eyes. It kind of reminds me of the Back to the Future movie where Michael J. Fox looks at his picture. You think he's going that bad?
Yeah, man. I mean, he's done. Don't get me wrong. Trump is just as done. So the biggest difference between Biden and Trump is really Trump says his dumb shit with enthusiasm, and Biden says it real quietly. So when you speak loudly, people tend to think, oh, you have a lot of energy. You must be cognitively inclined, right? That's why people favor Trump over Biden and they think he's in better shape. But if you actually listen to what Trump's saying, don't make no goddamn sense.
So let me make sure I get this clear. You don't think Trump you don't think his cognitive abilities are any stronger than Biden's?
I mean, the dude has said he's talked to dead people also, just like Biden. So you tell me the difference, right? Because he says it loudly and with enthusiasm. He's in better mental shape.
Who did Trump say he talked to that had passed away?
He said he was good friends with like Frederick Douglass, or he's gonna do great things or some shit, right?
He did say that. I forgot.
Dude,
yeah.
Trump may be even a little more gone than Biden, but because the dude says things with enthusiasm, people think he's in better shape.
Yeah. So, if you're going to suggest, I mean, you're what you're saying. A lot of people believe certainly on Biden. I think less on Trump. But what can Biden do then? Is there anything he can do to improve his image?
Step down. He can step down and let somebody else be the candidate. And Trump should do the same, man. Because I would actually consider even voting for Nikki Haley. Because, to be honest with you, Biden and Trump are both security threats to the country at this point.
Wow. But Nikki, now you're a progressive, so you're left of Biden, but you'd vote for Nikki Haley.
I mean, at least she has all her faculties available, and she's not a Nazi as far as I know. So, yeah.
But why would you, this is the way I look at it, even though you believe Biden is, as you say, fading.
Biden loves war too, comments. Yep. Biden loves war too.
All right. Even though you believe Biden is fading away right before our eyes, he's surrounded with a cast of an administration that he's willing to listen to. Do you think his administration would be more favorable to the principles you stand on than Nikki Haley and her administration?
Well, the thing is Biden meets with leaders on his own with no help involved, right? He has private meetings with leaders all across the world, and the dude needs to be able to make counterpoints, make legitimate arguments, and debate with them with enthusiasm, and I don't think he can do any of that.
Wow. So you would go with Nikki Haley over Biden?
Yeah, at this point I would, but again, the Republicans are gone, and they won't put up anybody else except for Trump. And they would actually win the election if they put somebody else up aside from Trump. So
let me ask you this in regards to Biden versus Nikki Haley. You said that Biden needs to step down, including Trump. Who do you think should? I mean, we're talking 9+ months now. We're less than 10 months from the election. Who could step up on the liberal side of the aisle and have a chance at getting the victory at this point?
I mean, he's not ideal for me, but I think Gavin Newsom would have a real good shot.
Wow. Well, he is, but you said he's not ideal for you. Isn't he more progressive than Biden?
No, he's not a progressive, my dude. He is very corporatist, but he's a better option than Biden because, again, at least the dude has all his faculties available.
Wow. Who can you get that doesn't take corporate money and actually means it?
AOC, but she's not ready yet. She's not ready to run yet. Nina Turner would be a fantastic president. Okay. Katie Porter, but she wants to run for Adam Schiff's position.
Okay.
So there's lots of people.
All right, so you think AOC, well, I've heard you say that before. AOC, you think the majority of the country would ever get behind AOC?
They literally agree with everything she says, except because she's a Dem, they pretend like they don't, right? She wants clean air, clean water. She wants Medicare for all. These are all things that MAGA people support. But because it comes out of a Latina Democrat's mouth, that's why they don't like it. It doesn't have anything to do with policy.
But what does her having a Latina got to do? You think they got a problem with Latin people?
Oh, yeah, they don't like minorities, period. So they use minorities to get their people in office because what they like to do is they like to say, hey, look, here's a Latin guy here and he's voting for my guy. So they use minorities to try and make their points, right? But really, they hate them, right? I mean, Vivek is a perfect example, right? They made an AI picture of him, put him in his 7-Eleven uniform, and then say, hey, he can run the White House 7-Eleven. So, it is what it is.
That 7-Eleven thing, why? And I see other folks on the comments, actually, even on YouTube, think you're correct. So you've said this numerous times, because you're using a Nazi term and things like that. You see the Republican Party is just filled with hate.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's without a doubt, my dude, right? I mean, you have a president who got convicted of SA, right? He's convicted. He's guilty of SA.
No, he didn't. No. Trump. Wait. Trump. Wait.
Civil court.
That's not a. It does matter. That you say convicted.
Civil court conviction. It
No,
certainly is. He is guilty of SA.
no, he was found liable. That's different than a guilty conviction verdict.
Whatever you want to call it, my
Okay,
dude.
all
The
right.
dude committed SA, and people are willing to vote for him. So that just shows you the kind of people that are in the GOP. The dude committed a coup, right? And they're still willing to vote for him. And this just goes to my point. It doesn't matter what Trump does. All they want is him in office, so he will go after the shit that they don't like. That's it.
I don't know. I gotta push back more as I usually do, and we know how it works. But I think you should have to be found guilty first before you start saying that he's he committed a coup or he raped him. Because this, let me tell you what. I had a huge problem with MAGA constantly yelling, "Lock her up." Hillary Clinton ain't been convicted of shit. You gotta give her a day in court, but that has to also be extended to Trump. He hasn't been found guilty, liable in civil court. I will give you that. But he hasn't been officially found guilty of any of the things you mentioned, the coup and all of this stuff.
You gotta understand something, right? When you see videotapes of them plotting the fake, because the coup is the fake electors, right? The coup is not the raid on the Capitol. That's not the coup. That was a distraction. The coup is the fake electors, okay? Roger Stone is on tape plotting it out, right? And Trump was all good to go with that plan to put fake electors in place and steal the election away from Biden. So that is the coup. January 6th was a distraction so that they could pull off the actual coup.
I'm not saying you may not have your facts straight. What I'm saying is, in court, they have not shown beyond a reasonable doubt that Trump was in working with the fake electors and that he orchestrated it.
Yeah, when I have enough evidence, especially video evidence, right in front of my, I believe my eyes, right? Maybe most people don't believe their eyes anymore and they enjoy being gaslit. I know what I saw,
Okay.
and I know what I see. So I don't need a court to tell me anything.
Fair enough. All right, Moo, and I do believe a large portion of the American voters believe what you're saying in regards to the coup. But until he's convicted, he's officially a man without a criminal record. Appreciate you coming on, though, Moo.
You have a good one, my friend.
Absolutely a pleasure. Looking in the comments, and I seen on YouTube, one of my frequent viewers on YouTube, not a big fan of Moo. I mean, listen, folks, I'll make it clear I take all comments left of Bernie Sanders till I'm having dinner with QAnon. So there's a lot of folks who do not like hearing opinions that coincide with their own. So I seen Chris on YouTube. I'm out of here. I can't take this dude. Listen, folks, there are plenty of spots on social media that are echo chambers, in my opinion. Spots, pages, live streams, whatever you want to call it, where everybody agrees with what you're saying, everybody's speaking in favor of Trump or speaking in favor of Democrats. I can only invite you to go seek out those pages, because here it's all about free speech. We let everyone speak, and the fact that you may disagree or I may disagree doesn't mean a damn thing here. It's all about free speech. Looking in the comments, I appreciate that you're inclusive. Thank you. It's hard. It's a hard program to run, but because a lot of folks don't like it. But I do appreciate you noticing it. Thank you. Tap the screen, folks. 10,000 likes. Over 500 of you in here. Get your boy up to 10,000. We'll go straight back to the box. We started out with G. Am I my brother's keeper? G Money. Good afternoon, G.
Good afternoon, brother. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing good. How can Biden restore his image that he's an old man in cognitive decline? How can he restore or improve that image?
Okay, thank you for the invite. And let me first add to those who have said to you that it is an unusual circumstance to find a conservative line that is inclusive and not an echo chamber.
This is not a conservative live.
I'm sorry?
This is not a conservative live. I appreciate the compliment. You notice the program, The Handsome Liberal. I lean left, but I do appreciate that. Continue.
Oh, I saw the Make America Great Again hat behind you. So pardon my ignorance. I genuinely apologize.
It doesn't matter, because I'm going to be inclusive. No, the only purpose of the hat, I'll just say it for folks who may be tuning in for the first time, is that I do believe, even though I lean left, that Republicans, conservatives, and particularly MAGA do not get a fair shake in the mainstream media. So I keep the hat up to let them know this is a MAGA-friendly program. Even if I completely disagree with every damn thing you got to say, I believe you should have the right to speak. It's all about free speech. Go.
I'm right there with you. That's what I fought for.
Thank you.
So I am a conservative, born and raised a Republican.
Okay.
And was a strong supporter of the Republican Party up until our friend Mr. Trump, right?
Wow.
I personally believe that Senator McCain would have been the greatest president we ever could have had.
Wow.
I believe that 41 was the greatest president we ever had. And I am a strong conservative.
Now, when you say 41, that's Reagan, right? If I'm correct.
No, that was Bush Sr.
George H.W. Read my lips, no new taxes? You think that's the best?
That's what I respected so much about it, man. That man looked in the camera to get elected and said, read my lips, no new taxes. And when it was divulged to him that in order to save America and do what was best for America, he had to raise taxes, he looked in that same camera and explained, understanding that it would make him a one-term president, that he had to do what was best for America despite his own political ambitions. That to me was like something I've never seen politicians do, and it gained a huge amount of respect from me for him. Go ahead.
I am completely baffled. So you believe that George H.W. Bush, the father, was better than Trump, better than Reagan? I've never heard a conservative in my life give H.W. Bush the championship.
I do. I love him. I think he was amazing. I think he was an amazing dude on a lot of levels. There's some things that I've learned about the guy personally too. I just think he was an amazing person and an amazing president. Right? I'm 49 years old. I'll be 50 in August.
So what was that? 1988 to 1992. How was America faring during those 4 years, 88 to 92? That was my end of my high school, beginning of my adult life. I don't remember us doing. What did he do that was so great other than looking at the camera?
So I have to be honest with you. I'm in a unique position from that perspective, right? I was proverbially born with that silver spoon in my mouth. I've kind of never known
poverty, struggle.
Right.
Okay.
That was never my reality, right?
It didn't make sense that you're a Republican, but keep going.
Right. My family's been employed in the NFL, with the NFL for many years, so I won't get into all that. But I come from a side of the tracks that makes it logical that I would be in that position. But I say this: I don't believe that there is anything that Mr. Biden can do to recover from what's already been done.
Wow.
Right? I just don't. Right? But at the same time, we are in this unique conundrum because we would almost at this point be better off voting for Mickey Mouse
than Trump.
So I'm born and raised in New York with a family who was deeply rooted in both New York politics and in New York real estate. And so I know who Donald Trump really is long before Donald Trump ever considered running for president of the United States of America.
Okay.
I remember all the civil rights lawsuits against Donald Trump for refusing both residential real estate and commercial real estate to black people in the New York, New Jersey.
Are you suggesting that Trump has an issue with, wait a minute. Hang on. Her. Are you suggesting that Trump has an issue with minorities like my last caller did?
I absolutely am.
Wow.
My grandfather owned a plumbing company and was one of the plumbing contractors that helped build the Taj Mahal. That Donald Trump sunk his business because he defaulted in paying for everything that my grandfather did. So I've known the dirtbag that Donald Trump is for long before Donald Trump ever got into politics. Donald Trump is a scumbag. He is the lowest form of human life that exists, and the reality is Donald Trump has sounded a dog whistle. Donald Trump was a liberal who supported the Democratic Party not only in word, deed, but in finance. Donald Trump, I don't know if you remember, there was a thing called the Central Park Five. Are you aware of the Central Park Five?
I get it all the time. Yeah, I'm certainly aware of it.
So, as a matter of fact, if you go to my page and look, one of the brothers from the Central Park Five, who's gone on to become a politician, talks about his experience with Donald Trump and who Donald Trump really is. Donald Trump is an urchin. He is the lowest form of life on the planet. And if you can go back and find YouTube where Donald Trump is talking about, they ask him who would make the greatest president in the United States of America. Do you know what his answer was?
What?
Hillary Clinton. All you gotta do is YouTube it. It's all over YouTube.
Damn. All right, so then, wait, hold on. So then let me ask you this. If Donald Trump is the way you're suggesting, particularly the part about him being intolerant, why the hell is your party, the one you were so deeply involved in for so long, favoring H.W. Bush, why is your party so strongly in favor of this guy that you're calling a scumbag, an urchin, a racist? Why is that?
Because both Democrat and Republican Party are deeply embedded in racism, bruh. We as minorities, my family and I choose the Republican Party because of some base values of the Republican Party: smaller government, less taxation, the things that make the core of what the Republican Party represented. And as a black man in business, with less government and smaller taxes, I can do better overall.
Here's the problem I have. Here's one problem, huge problem I have with what you and your family are talking about. Smaller government. When in history has smaller government been beneficial to black folk? You remember the Civil Rights Act, Lincoln freeing the slaves? If you leave it to small government, those small governments would have treated you like shit. Why would a black person favor small government?
Well, so smaller government gives us the mindset of having to get it out the mud, man. You understand?
But it gives
Dr. King, let me just say this. I'm gonna listen to you. Dr. King, we coined all of these statements that Dr. King made. I have a dream, and that one day black children and white children, and we go through all of this, right? But you know what we don't coin? We don't coin one of the last statements that Dr. King made before he died. And you know what that was?
Go.
I fear that I have led my people into a burning house. That was one of the last statements that Dr. King made.
Okay.
That was one of the last statements.
Well, and how do you what do you interpret that statement to mean?
You know what? Listen, I don't want to alienate 70 to 80% of your audience.
Then why bring it up? Listen, I don't mind alienating my audience. It's about free speech here. Those who don't like free speech, those who prefer an echo chamber, can leave now. It's all about free speech. Explain your interpretation. That's what you're here for.
Because probably the worst thing that happened to us as African Americans in this country was integration. It's probably the absolute worst thing that happened.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. What do you want, segregation?
That's what he meant by it. So if you think about it, if you look at how we performed as a group prior to integration, we were more cohesively aligned. We had things like Black Wall Street, Rosewood, Eatonville. I could go down the list of. We were more cohesively aligned.
Hold on. You mentioned Black Wall Street in Rosewood.
What group of people? Have you been to New York?
Many times. Hold on.
Okay.
You mentioned Black Wall Street in Rosewood. Do you realize Black Americans are everywhere? Rosewood and the other one you mentioned, Black Wall Street, that represents like not even 1% of blacks at that time. I mean, you're literally quoting the extreme and acting like it's the norm. Most blacks were dirt poor during the time of Rosewood and Black Wall Street.
But without question, but all things evolve. So had those. So I'm surprised you look like that. All things evolve.
You got me. You're making it sound like if blacks had been left to their own devices and we had a small government country, the whites at that time would have just let us prosper. There's a reason Black Wall Street ain't around no more. They were doing exactly what you're talking about. Blacks were working and living and doing business only with blacks. Whites weren't in the picture. Whites saw that and they intervened out of jealousy and tore all of that shit down. Why would you propose that in 2024 again?
Because I do not believe that. So let me ask you a question.
Please.
What do you believe is the core function of the support of Make America Great Again? And when did America fail to be great? And what were America's greatest years based in what MAGA's ideology is?
Well, first of all, considering that we're two African Americans, it's clear to say America's never been great. What was the other question you asked?
And what do you think in MAGA's ideology were America's greatest years?
Well, it depends on what part they want to talk to you about. They believe that when religion was stronger in schools and more people had Christian values, they think it was great. The nuclear family, two-parent households, they see that as great. Energy independence, I mean, they have a different mindset on it. It's not really, when MAGA and when folks in your party that don't look like you say, let's go back to when America was great, in my humble opinion, they're not thinking about people like you. It's not necessarily that they're racist. You ain't part of the discussion.
They talk about 1776. When you see it, you see with it 1776. And realistically, 1776, we both know what 1776 looked like.
Yeah.
When you see MAGA, you see 1776 with it. Okay. So that's why I say to you that I was a diehard Republican until Trump came on the scene, and I'm not a Trumplican. The Republican Party has fallen in lockstep with this man for God knows what reason. Do you realize? I mean, you do realize. I know you're aware of this. You're a very intelligent brother who's on point. So this bill that just came about bipartisan for the border, the Republican Party didn't ratify this bill because they want Donald Trump to be able to say that Joe Biden is weak on the border. I mean, I get it. I mean, I absolutely get it. My point, that's really.
Joe Biden is. Well, wait a minute. I don't disagree with you that Trump had a lot to
vote for, bro.
Yeah,
Mickey Mouse, which is who we need to vote for.
Mickey Mouse. All right, I got to move it on. Gee, this has been an interesting call. I would certainly enjoy talking to you again. Only reason I got to move it on because I got other folks in here. But you're always welcome back.
I'm sorry, sir?
You're always welcome back.
Thank you, brother. God bless you, man. I'm going to follow you. You'll be in my prayers, please, at any time.
My sentiments exactly. Thank you. All right, going back to the box. Now, obviously, I believe in letting folks speak. Me and the caller agreed on some things, and certainly I'm no fan as a minority of small government. I've given numerous reasons why, but some folks disagree. Looking in the comments, the greatest years are always just a generation or so out of reach, but that's true of every generation. If you keep going back in time, everyone is nostalgic for a time before they have lived. I don't know about that. I look back at the generation before I came along, for instance. I say this numerous times when we have these racial discussions and the evolution of America. Out of my entire family tree, I am the first person that was born with civil rights from birth. My mom, born in Memphis, you think in 1948. I don't want to be born in 1948, Memphis, Tennessee, so I don't think the generation before me is a generation I inspire to mimic America after. Looking in the box, appreciate you folks tapping the screen. We're asking, how can Biden restore his image? He has an image of an old man in cognitive decline. Hell of a lot of folks on the left believe the same thing, so it's not just a Republican issue. How can he, at the very least, improve, if not restore that image? I'm asking that you folks tap the screen. We got almost 900 or so of you in here, so certainly tap the screen. Get your boy up to another 20, get your boy up to 30,000. Let your thumbs not be lazy. For you folks on YouTube, appreciate you tuned in. Feel free to smash that like button if this is what you favor. A subscription would be greatly appreciated. Going back to the box, the one and only Takesha Blue. Good afternoon, Takesha. Should be a spirited conversation as usual. Good afternoon.
My last name is Bowie, not Blue.
Bowie. Okay, I'm not good at French. I'm not good at
calling
French.
me the wrong name every time I come up in this box.
Yeah, you sound a lot like my ex-wife. But let me ask you this. How can Biden restore, or better yet, improve his image that he's an old man in cognitive decline?
What they want from him, he is an old man. And the older you do get cognitive decline. What's he supposed to do?
Resign? Someone said resign.
You want him to go find a fountain of youth and go back to being young and bright, vital and bright?
So would it be possible, or would you somewhat agree that maybe he should step down for somebody that is young and vibrant?
Are Are they asking Trump to come off the campaign trail? He's been saying things that make no sense as well.
But the Republicans don't see Trump in cognitive decline.
That's why they don't see Trump, because they're Trump humpers. And they're booty lickers, and they swallow the leaks from his cheeks, and they ain't even drinking Kool-Aid no more. They're drinking the leaks from his cheeks, and they're just ridiculous.
That rhymes, but that is awful. So
nothing that man can do will look bad to them. Now they rise up saying that's his strategy. He really not forgetting. He's just making a strategy so he can claim insane when he goes before the courts. They'll come up with any excuse to make him look better. We know that Biden is in decline. We're not in denial on the Democratic side. But when are they going to admit that Trump is as well?
Yeah. Well, I can't answer that because, like I said, most of them would suggest that Trump is completely sane and the best leader for this country going forward.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
So why do you think that is, though? Why do you think that the Democrats are so much more critical of Biden, whereas Trump does have gaffes? There's no denying, maybe not as many as Biden in the news, but as you pointed out, Trump, the last caller talked about him speaking with Frederick Douglass or him defending airports during the Civil War some 100 years before the airport was invented or airplanes was invented. Trump do have gaffes. Why is it that the Republicans do not hold him accountable like the liberals do to Biden?
Because they love him. They're in love with him. Valentine's Day, they might send him hard candy and wishes that he calls them and say, I love you too. They are infatuated with this man. This is their love. This is their Zeus. This man is the man that they wish they had. The men that are pretending to be straight. Trump is their love that they can go into their closets with and pretend to be with, and nobody knows it.
Wait a minute. You trolling. You're trolling.
They're obsessed. They're obsessed with him. They're tattooing his face on their bodies. They're riding around with his face on their trucks. They love him.
Have you ever really seen an actual voter that tattooed Trump on their body? Really?
I have. I've seen one with Trump's face on his arm and one with his face on their back.
Now, in the comments, I will say that in regards to what you just stated, Troll on Somewhere Else, that's a hell of a name. Troll on Somewhere Else stated he is pretty amazing. So,
well, how is he amazing? How?
You don't see anything Trump has done as...
What's amazing about a man who cheated on his wife with a porn star? Who cheated on every wife with a porn star, who goes around, calls people playground names, who has never even apologized for anything he's done, who thinks he's perfect. What's amazing about a person like that?
Well, I can give you a couple pushbacks. Fact is...
Amazing.
Huh?
Give me an amazing.
Okay, I'll give you something that is amazing. What has the right been fighting for just about our entire life?
We're not even finna talk about no overturning Roe versus Wade. That was not amazing.
That was not amazing if you're on the left.
It wasn't amazing to me.
No, it's not supposed to be amazing to you. You don't want it.
I'm talking about what's amazing about his characteristics. What's amazing about him personally.
You're not running for president for people to have an adoration of you. It's the policies. That is a...
Those people didn't care that Trump got Roe versus Wade overturned.
What?
Listen to me, handsome. They were loving him before all of that happened. These people have just been obsessed with him because, number one, he's a racist. I don't care what nobody says.
You're the third person to say that.
He's a racist. I don't care what anybody says. He hung around black people because he knew that he needed black people to get where he currently is. Let's just be honest. Without black people, this would not be a United States of America. They wouldn't have half of the things they have. The world would not even have half of the inventions.
I don't know if I totally agree. I'll tell you this. When you say without blacks, the country wouldn't be the way it is. I believe some in disarray. My simple response would be, it would still be the same country. You and I would just be Filipino. We might be Mexican. We might be Chinese.
Who invented much of the things we use?
I think the African American community would take that.
So how would the world run without without our invention.
We would have brought over, and I hate to sound this so awful saying this, but I believe the white man would have come here, and if they couldn't get their hands on Africans, it would have been Filipinos. Maybe they would have had those inventions, or it would have been Mexicans. Maybe they would have had those inventions, or they would have enslaved the Native Americans. It could have been anybody. Go ahead.
Sticking to us. But I don't see anything exciting about Trump, for real. And I used to pray for Trump, that he would be a better person. I really did, because, you know, I'm the type of person, even if I don't like you, I can love you as a person, because that's what we're supposed to do. And I can still pray for you for good things to happen to you. But every time I prayed for him, it came right back to the floor, because he was not doing any better. So it was getting no higher than the ceiling, because he was slapping it right back to the floor. Wow. And it's ridiculous. Handsome, we've always had Republicans and Democrats. We've always agreed to disagree. But what's going on now is utterly ridiculous. You got parents against their children. You got moms against their dads. You got husbands against their wives, all because of the division in the party. Because of what, I don't care what nobody say. You don't never have to agree with me. Trump caused a lot of division.
So how do you respond to folks that might say when Obama got up there and said Trayvon Martin could be my son and started taking the side of Black Lives Matter, that he started the division? A lot of folks say that.
He could have been his son. He could have been anybody's son, but he could have been his son because he was a black child who was murdered for no apparent reason, and he was a black man. You can't understand that. That didn't cause division. That was just truth in their face.
Okay. Well,
Trayvon could have been my son.
Yeah, I'm coming at it from the angle of Black Lives Matter was divisive in this country, and Obama was taking their side.
That's why I've always, you know, I don't follow Black Lives Matter, but I always said that when they came up with the slogan Black Lives Matter, at the end they should have said TOO.
Yeah.
Also,
I don't, you know, I get your point, and I think I told you before, I don't think it would have mattered because every civil rights slogan, every civil rights leader has been a target to find something to hate the guy about. I mean, Martin Luther King, if he was alive today, right now, and he was talking about racial issues, he would be hated. There is not a single civil rights leader in American history that during his time in existence was not hated. The only reason why Martin Luther King is favored is because he's dead and he's not complaining about racism.
He dead and he gone.
Yeah.
That's the only reason, Hanson. These people act like they don't know racism exists, but you can't see racism when it's not affecting you.
Fair enough. All right. So, but Biden, at the end of the day, in terms of restoring his image, nothing he can do?
I don't have a problem with Biden.
But your party, the left does.
Hold on. Just because my auntie is old and forgetful, am I going to sit on cook that Sunday dinner I go over there and eat every Sunday?
I get it, but we're talking about, wait, Takesha, we're not talking about Sunday. We're talking about running.
Listen, even if he is in cognitive decline, the man has done some great things being in cognitive decline.
I mean, Captain's
the greatest mastermind, according to them, for all the stuff they say he doing. So he must not be in that much decline.
All right. I mean, I get your point. Captain Scully did a lot and landed a plane safely, but at some point, he's too old to be in the cockpit. I mean, has Biden reached that area?
And guess what? Both of them too old. So let's tell Trump to go sit down too.
All right, Takesha. You drive a hard bargain as always. Good talk. Appreciate you coming through.
Have a great one.
You too. What can Biden do to restore his image? Or as my last caller seemed to illustrate, hey, listen, he's still quite valuable as a commander-in-chief. Maybe he has not, his cognitive abilities has not dropped enough that we should be having this conversation, sounds like. What do you think? And by the way, we asked also on a side note, why is it that the Democrats seem far more critical of Biden when he has gas, makes mistakes, or has scandals than MAGA and the Republicans seem to be of Trump? Most of the gas that Trump has are meaningless to the Republican Party. There are endless tweets back when Trump was using Twitter. Now he's on X, but there are endless grammatical errors, misspelled words. Folks on the right don't care about that. So why is the left holding Biden to such a higher account when folks on the right don't seem to give a damn about it? Looking in the comments, Trisha says FJB. We get it. You're typing it over and over again. Everyone knows what the acronyms mean. Fuck Joe Biden. We get it. You got your point across. Congratulations. Looking in the comments, Dems should support Biden. If you don't want Trump, that's your only other option. Going back to the box, I appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. Perhaps we can get to 45,000 likes if you let your thumbs not be lazy. We certainly will go to Cassius, 1015, similar to Cassius Clay. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. A lot of folks on the left. What do you think Biden can do to restore his image? Folks on YouTube, by the way, smash that like button. Cassius, good afternoon.
Hey, sir.
Hey, good to have you on. So Biden's image is that he's in steep cognitive decline, even among Democrats. What can he do to restore that image?
He's had that image since he was vice president with Obama. And yet he kept doing the best that he could and kept it moving. So I would suggest that he continues to do the best that he can and keeps it moving. The Democratic Party is behind Biden 100%. Okay.
100%.
Yes.
I could not disagree with you more, but keep going.
Well, overwhelmingly. Okay, instead of you saying 100%, I acquiesce.
Have you seen Biden's poll numbers? 100%, overwhelmingly. Have you seen his poll numbers among liberals?
I would still say overwhelmingly yes, because the alternative is what?
I get it.
So they didn't poll me. You know, they didn't poll. Did they call you?
No.
They didn't call.
Let me ask you this. We're speculating. This has not happened, but I want to get your opinion on this. If all of a sudden Gavin Newsom, Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan were talking about running and liberals were handed a sheet out of these three candidates, Joseph R. Biden, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, or Gavin Newsom, out of those three for president in November, you think Biden, who has overwhelming support, 100%, you think he would be the person most Democrats would pick?
I'll stick with him. I'm sticking with him.
Okay.
I don't know about anyone else, but I'm riding with Biden.
Okay.
You know, I made up my mind on that subject. You know.
So when you say,
put it this way, I'm riding with the Biden-Harris ticket. I think that Harris scares people.
why is that? I mean, she's a good-looking woman.
Well, the obvious reasons, the woman is black, and she will not only become the first woman president, but the first black woman president. So that scares white folks on either side, I do believe. So that is one reason why I'm riding with Biden. You know what I'm saying?
You mentioned her being black and scaring white folks. I want to ask you this because every caller I've had on, even a Republican, has stated they believe that the Republican Party has all of this intolerance and racism. Because you're talking about Kamala Harris and her skin, do you really see the Republican Party as having this level of intolerance in it?
I think that they are intolerable. They are intolerable. Look at them. Look at the Congress and look at the Senate. Look at Republicans, period.
Tim Scott, what about him?
That's obvious, isn't it? You don't even need to go into the mess that is he, or that is Byron Allen, or that is anyone like that the caller before Takesha that you had up. Mm-hmm. You know, he just realized how bad the Republican Party are. He just realized that when Trump came. We've been on that. Most black folks been on that.
You know, that's an interesting point you make, because I wanted to ask him that. Yeah, I wanted to ask him that because there has been, particularly among minorities, that there's intolerance in the Republican Party, and we were having such a good conversation, but I wanted to ask him that, like, it took Trump for you to feel this way? Because, like you said, that those rumors have been circulating. You know, even Kanye West of all people, after Hurricane Katrina, said George Bush does not like black people. So I'm like, you waited till Trump for this?
I mean, my goodness, did he not live through Reagan? I mean, what was Reagan all about? Did he not live through that? You know, or through Daddy Bush and then his son? It took him all this time to wake up. That's why we vote the way that we do, because we know shit when we smell it. Okay.
You gotta explain something then. If we're voting the way we do because somehow the Republican Party is racist, you need to understand Trump is doing very well compared to all the other Republican predecessors with black people. Trump is getting stronger and stronger.
Not with black people, with black men.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Which is shameful. Okay. He's doing it with black men, and I believe that one of the reasons why his numbers have ticked up a little bit with black men is because of the LGBTQ issues. Okay, that is one, and you know, because black men already feel like they're under attack, and then when you put, you know, they think that the man is under attack, then they'll go that way. I remember when Hillary was running, I'm going to the barbershop, and it was dudes in the barbershop saying that a woman couldn't be president of the United States because a woman is too emotional. And I said, do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself? Do you actually hear what you are saying? I said, I don't even think you hear what you're saying. So, you know, I blame that on ignorance. You know,
but wait a minute. So are you? But here's the issue I have. When you start talking about men voters or sexist or homophobic, there's a hell of a lot of female Trump supporters. If the Republican Party, for instance, is taking away women's rights, and I often ask women, if this party is so bad to women, why are there so many women voting for? I mean, clearly they don't see that.
Yeah, they didn't see it until it was time for them to get that abortion, like the woman in Texas. Yeah. She voted Republican. Yeah. Okay, she voted for that. And then when it came time, when she needed that abortion, they said they were going to lock her tail up for getting it. Yeah. She had to go to another state to get it. So she voted in her worst interest. How to understand people that stuck on stupid? I don't get them. It's so like, blacks for Trump, you know, or Latinos for Trump. I don't get it. If they want to be stuck on stupid, let them be stuck on stupid.
So in regards to voting against your own issues, which you're kind of alluding to, when it comes to the woman's vote, I'm talking about all across the board, blacks, whites, you name it, how do you think Trump will do in 2024? You think he's going to win the women's vote?
He'll win. White women vote age 36 to 56. He'll win their vote.
Well, if he only wins that little small category, that means he's going to lose a lot of. You think overall Trump is going to lose the women's vote?
Oh, big time. Taylor Swift. 2 words. Taylor. Second word, Swift.
She's gotta get more involved in politics to have that kind of pull. I don't disagree with you with the millions of followers she has. If she got real strong on politics, she could.
She's already involved. She's already they put her in. She's involved with. She already baked cookies for Biden. Baked cookies with Biden on it. You know, she did that the last go round. She already told people to vote Democratic. She did it in her state of Tennessee. Those two black congressmen, the youngest ones, the 2 Jasons, they got reelected partly through the power of Taylor Swift and the young vote. Those young people came out and voted in huge numbers in Tennessee, and she's already in the.
She ain't in my. I gotta move it on, but I'm just gonna tell you, in my humble opinion, she's not involved enough. I don't see her on CNN doing interviews. I don't see her on MSNBC.
She doesn't have to.
Yes, she does.
Go that far.
Yeah, she does. Yes, she does.
I don't think so. I don't think she has to go that far. You know, they already put her there. You know, so
I gotta disagree with you.
Her name recognition is already there. You know,
I gotta disagree with you. If I see her on This Week with George Stephanopoulos, or I see her on Meet the Press, CBS This Morning, all of the shows that I typically watch, MSNBC or CNN, Fox News probably wouldn't invite her. But if I see her,
to do that.
Huh?
I don't think she needs to do that. All she needs to do is make a simple tweet or do like she did the last time. Like I said, the last time she literally baked blue cookies with Biden's name on it, took a picture, put it on Instagram, and bam!
Let me tell you why I disagree. Let me tell you why. I got to move it on, but I'll tell you this and give you the last word. I talk politics every day. I constantly listen to news. I don't miss, this evening news with David Mirror or Lester Holt. I watch a lot of news. I don't read Taylor Swift's tweets. I'm not on her social media.
Young people do, though. You don't, but young folks do.
But there are more voters.
Shows, big man. They don't watch. They don't watch them shows. They watch her videos. They watch her Instagram. They watch her posts.
Okay.
That's what they watch. This is the sleeping giant. The Gen Zers are the sleeping giants.
All right.
Okay.
I don't think you should miss any avenue. I mean, the most popular outlets for a lot of voters, because you're only going after the young voter. I think she's really missing the mark by not going to some of the venues that I just mentioned. Baking cookies in Tennessee, I don't think is enough, but you got a different opinion. I got to move it on, Cassius. Appreciate it.
Yeah, with
Oh, you said somewhere. Hey, anytime, come on back, Cassius. Looking in the comments. I agree 100% with the guest, and I'm 66 years old. There you go, Cassius. Perhaps I'm wrong. Looking in the comments, she has 95 million followers on C. I don't know what the word was, but that's a lot of followers. What about others? They have openly expressed support. My opinion, as folks have already stated, maybe I'm getting this one wrong, but my opinion is they need to campaign harder. They need those MAGA crowd size rallies, meetings, gatherings. I know a lot of folks say, well, Democrats ain't interested in crowd size. Obama sure had a hell of a lot of big crowds. I went to Obama rallies or whatever you call it. I've been to Trump rallies. I haven't even heard of Biden gatherings. Obama had a lot of crowd, Hollywood, music industry. I don't see that with Biden. I just don't. And I do believe he needs it because on his face, on his own, he doesn't have the support of an Obama or a Bill Clinton. Those are our last few presidents. They were much stronger as a standalone character. Bill Clinton, Barack Obama. So I do believe Biden needs far more support, a bad term to use for an 80-year-old man, but he needs far more support than Obama or Clinton. And I don't see it. I just don't. But apparently some of you think differently. Going back to the box, I do appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. Make 60,000 happen. If, by the way, you know how the program is ran. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their comments. So understand when you come in the box or in the comment section, whether you agree with the host or not does not mean a damn thing. I'm going to let you folks speak. That's how we do it. And if you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to censor, limit, or alter your opinion, follow the program. You're in the right place. We're here Monday through Friday for my YouTubers. Program running simultaneously on YouTube. I appreciate the subscriptions and certainly click the like button if it's what you like. Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with Minnesota Finn. What can Biden do to improve, if not restore, his image? I don't know what just happened with my last caller, but we'll keep the program moving if they don't pop up. Look it in the comments real quick. I like your program, says Andre. Appreciate it. It's certainly a pleasure having you here as well. Thank you. Love your vibe, bro. Pete, I'm liking the accolades. Thank you. Certainly show your appreciation by tapping the screen. Get the like sub. I appreciate that. Real quick in the comments, skipped again, says Texas. I didn't see you in there. Elon Musk, 171 million followers, 2.5 Taylors. But you said it because Elon Musk has more followers than Taylor Swift. Wow. What does that mean? I mean, Taylor has a lot of followers. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I don't get that. I mean, Taylor Swift has a lot of motivational power in politics. Regardless if she has as many followers as Elon, I don't know where that's going. Going back to the box, somebody says Trump has no morals. Yikes. Moving the program on, Chester Nesbitt. Good afternoon. Welcome. Who is Taylor Smith? I don't know, but I'm sure there's a hell of a lot of them with a name like that. Chester, good afternoon. Chester, good afternoon. Okay, apparently Chester is tuned out. Sounds like he is driving along in a Model A Ford. Wow. All right, looking in the comments, Biden is done. What is said that Biden is the most qualified to run for the Dems. Yikes. Now, there's plenty of Dems that are going to say the same for Trump. They're going to say the same thing, that with Trump being 70, what is he, 77, 78? That it's said that he's the most qualified to run for the Republicans. I mean, he's not young, folks. Regardless of what you think about Trump, he is, I mean, I personally believe, and I know a lot of folks, particularly on the right, do support age limits. I believe it should be whereas you cannot run for president if any year of your presidency will include you being over 80. Which would basically mean if you're going to get 2 terms, 72 is the oldest you could run. I would be willing. How many of you folks would support that? You can run for president, but none of the years you serve can be over the 80-year mark. That would mean, like I said, 72, you could serve from age 72 to 76. But at the age of 76, you may not be able to run because you would be over the 80-year mark. I think that gives the commander-in-chief enough age to also address the elderly, because if you make it too young, elderly voters are going to say, listen, this person is so damn young, they're going to ignore our community. But if you're over 65, you're old enough to address that community as well. But I do believe when you start getting to be 82 is, I think, what Biden will be if he gets reelected, going up to 86. That is really out of tune with a lot of shit. I mean, he was born like right after World War II or maybe even during it. I'd have to do my math. But that goes way the fuck back. I mean, he's out of tune with a bunch of generations. I love the 80s. He was a grown man already in the 1980s. That's going way, way back. Going back to the box, and I do appreciate you folks that are holding on. The Lone Star State. Tejas. Good afternoon, Texas.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good.
I think you were censoring me.
How can well, understand? I will never censor you or any other, but there is a lot of folks in there. So sometimes TikTok moves your names around and things like that. But what can Biden do to restore his image?
I don't think there is anything he can do. I was surprised that he even called on Peter at that press conference, and because I mean, my gosh. Let
me present this to you, because you said what some other folks have agreed with you and said the same thing. There's nothing he can do to restore his image. When you look at January 6th and how the Republican Senate and Republican members of Congress, you had Lindsey Graham saying the protesters should be shot in the head. You had Mitch McConnell flat out blaming Trump. He was able to restore his image in 2 days. How did he restore his image in 2 days, but Biden is now in a state where he can't restore his at all? What is it about Biden that makes him unrecoverable?
I mean, you think Trump really restored his image?
Have you seen the polls?
I've seen it, and I think it's what's being overlooked in the mass majority of his votes are people just don't know what to do anymore. They're like, well, I don't want to vote for Biden because he's in severe cognitive decline. So I got to go with Trump.
That would make sense. Hold on. That would make sense if Trump was the only Republican running. They had a choice of Vivek. They had a choice of Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, Nikki Haley, the governor of North Dakota. Why would they pick Trump? Why is his image so easily restored?
I think they go with him. Those other candidates, even though they seem more ideal to me, I think the majority of people are voting for them. Again, not for them, I'm sorry, and for Trump is because it's kind of like Dems think that Biden's the only one that can beat Trump. Well, they think, well, we got to get behind Trump. He's the only one that can beat Biden.
Well, let me wait a minute. You saying that Dems are picking Biden because they think he's the only one that can beat Trump? Is that the case, or are Dems picking Biden because that's the only choice Dems have been given? See, Osby, thank for the hat and the mustache. Appreciate it. I mean, if Dems were given, I mentioned Governor Gretchen Whitmer, I mentioned Gavin Newsom. If they were given more options, you think they would still pick Biden?
I do, yeah. I mean, that's the party leaders were backing Biden and saying this is the only person we can get to beat Trump. And so they would do the same thing, because when you're faced with your worst fear, oh, I don't want Trump in there, I got to do whatever it takes, I'll vote for him, fine, let's do it. Just like the Trumpers say, I got to vote for Trump because I don't want Biden in there. You know, I've never been a Trump supporter. My dad is a Trump supporter, you know, and me, I've been Republican or, you know, conservative my whole life, basically. But Trump was a pawn to me. You're not a billionaire, you know, Democrat, and then swap to conservative.
Oh, so you're going after Trump the same way the Republicans went after John Kerry in 2004. You're saying he's a flip-flopper.
Yeah. Wow. He's just... I said it in 2015, Trump's coming here to divide the Republican Party. And look, it's splintered, it's fractured. Who do we have? We don't have anybody. Trump's all we got. That's exactly what he wanted, because he's an egotistical billionaire. Wow. I mean, people get on here, most of your guests have come on here and talked about how horrible he is, and people say, oh, he has no morals. I say, show me a billionaire that does. Damn. None of them do.
Bill, you don't think Bill Gates has morals, or I mean?
Hell no. If he did, his wife would still be with him.
Ouch! Look, if you're a billionaire, you probably shouldn't have a wife, do you? I don't know about that one, but I get your point. Wow. So no billionaire has morals, huh?
No, of course not. They sold those long ago. That's how you get that much money, you know. But what are people going to do on the right? Well, if they're getting pointed at saying, well, if you vote for Trump, you're a racist. So you're already losing there.
Why do you think that is, that so many folks on the left see Trump as a racist?
Because that's what their media pushes the agenda to them. Oh, if you vote on the right, you don't care about immigrants, you don't care about minorities. When it's not true at all in the mass majority. If it was, we would still have no civil rights for minorities. We would still, you know, there would be more hate crimes and, you know, racial crimes than there actually is. If you look at the grand scope of things, we're not like that with each other. We all live pretty peacefully. If there was as much hate as people claim, we would be fighting each other all the time. That's not the way.
Now, I will say this, for someone like myself that watches a lot of right-wing media, I do have to tell you, there is a lot of negative publicized material involving minorities and immigrants on right-wing media. I don't see many exposés on a graduating HBCU class that all of them are on the dean's list. It's, you know, folks breaking into an Apple store and stealing phones, or mob it is mostly negative. And I've said before that if I was an old man living in rural Wyoming or Montana somewhere, and I was watching Fox all day, or, you know, some right-wing outlet, I could totally understand having a negative view of African Americans, because right-wing media it shows the worst of us. I mean, it really does.
Well, and that's where it has to be taken to actually work, right? You got to be in some rural, you know.
But why is that though? There are plenty of flourishing, successful minorities. Why is only the negative element being shown like that?
Well, to me, it's just that's the right-wing media. They, just like the left-wing media portrays all right-wing as bad, they're going to portray the left as bad. It's just there to divide us. It's all propaganda. I don't watch Fox News. You know, I get my news from other sources because I don't like when they get on there. I don't care if I agree with Biden or not, but no news outlet should be bashing our sitting president. That is despicable. Just like, you know, CNN, everybody would do it when Trump was president. Would I like Trump as a person? No, I wouldn't have anything in common with him. I wasn't raised with that, you know, silver spoon in my mouth and given everything like he's been his whole life. We wouldn't have a thing to talk about.
But do you think Trump is
I'm not going to bash him.
Do you see Trump? Do you see Trump as an effective leader?
On foreign affairs, yes.
Economy. What about the economy?
Yes and no. I mean, I think if he would have gotten more support, from the Dems when they had control of the House and everything, we could have seen more trade go our way. We could have, worked more together. But, is he in cognitive decline? I don't think he's in cognitive decline like Biden is, unfortunately.
So let me now you are a Republican, you are a conservative, correct?
Yes, but I just don't vote Trump. Yeah.
So out of the original 9 that was running with the Haleys and the Chris Christie's and Vivek Ram, who did you see as the most viable, the best choice out of what the Republican Party was presenting?
I like Vivek. I really did. Mainly because of his age.
But what is the difference policy-wise between Vivek Ramaswamy and Trump?
Well, that's where I don't think there is much. I think he started trying to grab a lot of Trumpers by mimicking, his policies and picking his sides, and that's where I kind of started stepping away from him because I don't really want a younger Trump in there. Nikki Haley, she just gets a lot of corporate money. I don't know if she even knows what she's running on, policy wise. So, DeSantis, I liked a little bit until he started getting too big for his britches, I guess you could say. So yeah, it's really bad what you have as option wise on the right? But I asked the same question, what do you have on the left? If Biden's the only one that can beat Trump and he beats him this time, what's going to stop him the next time? Because Trump's not going to quit, right? So wouldn't we want to get him out of the way, let him win this one, and then follow up behind him with someone better to clean up his mess, as Biden has said he's been doing the last 4 years anyways?
Yeah, so if you're not a Trumper and it comes down to Trump versus Biden, you're going with Biden?
No, I'm just not going to vote for president.
I'm
in Texas. We know who Texas is going to go for. I know, a lot of media, especially the left, they want to try to say Texas is a possible swing state. It's not. Even with all the Californians that moved, they're not voting blue here. Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and even some of Dallas, those are blue cities, but they don't carry enough to swing the state, and they're not going to.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. I agree with you. I think Texas is going to go red, but I do see an inkling of purple. It's growing. It's just not there yet. But I do believe I believe that's also why your governor Abbott is so anti the immigrants coming over here, because the more of them come over here, they're certainly with the way your party is treating immigrants now. If they become legal and are allowed to vote, they ain't voting Republican because your party is treating them like shit.
Well, I don't agree with all of what Abbott has done, but I understand why Abbott has done it. And I think, especially in the last few years, it's shown a lot for his character, because that's not an easy choice to make, right? These buses being sent to these bigger cities, people don't know, and now they're starting to see what kind of havoc it really can.
It didn't. But let me counter it and just simply say it didn't. The havoc in Chicago and New York with immigrants, that didn't have to happen. That was done by design. Your governor sent over 100,000 immigrants to Chicago. He could have sent them to Milwaukee. There's a host of sanctuary areas he could have sent. He wanted to flood small areas with immigrants to create the illusion of chaos.
Small area.
Huh?
Chicago's not a small
For
area.
100,000 people in the span of a few months, it is.
Well, but that's the same thing that happens in San Antonio.
They're not going.
Dallas.
You're telling me
It's already been happening here. That's why he had to make the choice. What can we do to make these other states see there is a problem?
So you're saying in San Antonio and Dallas, they had homeless people laid all out and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's still happening in San Antonio.
And it's all immigrants.
In San Antonio. You can't even go down the Riverwalk and around the Alamo without seeing homeless people laying around.
Wow. All right.
It's really bad. And so to bring light to this, because a lot of people that aren't from Texas or a border state, they don't really see how it affects the economy, right? We're not saying immigrants are bad. No, they're good. We don't have a problem.
No, that ain't. I gotta interrupt you and say that if you watch right-wing media, like I mentioned about minorities, all of their stories covering immigrants are bad. Thefts, robberies. They're not.
I have to watch that though, because I'm living in it, right? And I'm working with migrants, and I'm right next to them.
Yeah, but there's a lot of folks in America that have an opinion of immigrants that are not in the trenches like you are. They're just like I mentioned, an old guy living in rural Wyoming. They're changing their hearts and minds, even though they're not dealing with the problem, because they're feeding them a bunch of negativity.
Yeah, they're feeding them the wrong negativity. They're painting them as criminals, right? The murderers, things like that. And although every society, every culture, every group has murderers, rapists, criminals, no one's free of that, right? So we all know that happens. So of course there's going to be some that come across our border that have ill intentions, but the mass majority don't, and we know that. Why?
So you do understand when folks suggest that Republicans hate immigrants or that they are racist, that type of language that you're talking about, where you're portraying them all as rapists and murderers, you do understand that that is what's feeding those beliefs. Is that your party doesn't seem to be very outraged about all the negativity that I'm mentioning. You can portray blacks on right-wing media.
Well, you say my party, but all you're really pulling from is right-wing media like Fox News. That's not my party. I'm my party. You're listening to somebody who's in this party trying to tell you, and you keep bringing up. Well,
let me tell you why I mentioned
right now.
The reason why I mentioned the media as your party is because the leadership of your party are often on that network. In fact, many of the employees and hosts of that network are former members of your party. You as a citizen does not have a lot of power in your party. The powers that be in your party are all over that network.
They are very true.
That's what we're talking about.
And all I can do is try to vote them out, right?
Well, until that happens, I'm just telling you where this stuff is originating from. But I do got to move it on. Texas, appreciate you coming in.
Well, one thing I'd like to say, everybody before me came up and said, I'm not going to vote for Trump basically because he's racist, right? Well, that kind of seems hypocritical in the fact that, Trump didn't pass anything like the 94 crime bill. So if you want to talk about racism, let's look at Biden's history of racism, and then tell me why you wouldn't vote for Trump over Biden.
Fair enough. Appreciate it. Good talk. Come on back anytime, Texas. Now, looking in the comments, but this is said for both sides, Tim. Chuck, true. But we were talking about one side at that time period. If the other side comes up, we'll talk about that as well. People, let's be real. They agreed on a border deal, and Republicans didn't want to vote so Biden could sign. And that does appear to be true. I appreciate that. Flower, I don't know who sent that, but thank you for what popped up there. I don't know, didn't show me the name. I do appreciate that. Your generosity is not unnoticed. Thank you. Looking in the comments, Central Park 5, Trump never apologized. Ginger, certainly a friend of the program. Good afternoon, Ginger. Yeah, when it comes to minorities and blacks suggesting that Trump is intolerant or something of that nature, the Central Park 5 routinely comes up. And unlike what the settlements Trump settled in, or the lawsuits Trump settled in the past about not renting the blacks and things like that, he could make amends to some degree with the Central Park 5. Because that is a strike on his resume with minorities that seems to come up often. In fact, those individuals from the Central Park 5, they're still out there. They're on television, they're on networks talking about that. Most blacks that think Trump is racist bring that up. So just simply leaving that out there unchecked is not helping Trump out with minorities. And there's not, in my opinion, a good explanation for why he said it, doubled down on it, and left it out there. I've talked to a lot of my beloved MAGA that tried to defend it. I haven't heard a good explanation for why, once those folks were found to be completely innocent, he kind of left his statement out there. They're holding that against him. Looking in the comments, no, he can't. It would be a political stunt now. Facts only. All you can do is try. No matter what you do to improve your image, I don't care what your image is, somebody's going to say it's a political stunt. That should not be an excuse not to make an effort. Going back to the box, tap the screen, get your boy up to 75,000. You certainly can do it, over 1,000 of you in here. YouTube, appreciate you folks tuned in. Feel free to smash that like button. If you guys enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without the host trying to dictate what you should say or how you should think, you're in the right place. I implore you to follow the program and possibly subscribe on YouTube. Going back to the box, we will continue moving with Electric Wolf 45. How can Biden improve or restore his image? Wolf, good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm hanging out.
Handsome, I just wanted to say I wanted to come on yesterday and give you my condolences because your boy had a bad day.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Everybody's still on board with him.
Yeah. Well, listen, Trump was found liable of rape and had to pay $83 million. Bad days happen. Did I lose you, Wolf?
Yeah, it does. Just not that bad where you try to justify. No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. You got me?
Okay, apparently, okay, I'll move real quick. Wolf, you're always welcome back. You clearly had a bad signal or something, so there was a delay making our communication difficult, but come on back. Real quick in the comments, Tara Reid is suing Biden. Let's see how it ends up. Now, suing Biden while he's president is unlikely to go anywhere. Just like there was a reason why folks did not go after Trump while he was president. So that's not going to go anywhere. And if you guys continue to suggest Biden don't even know where the hell he's at, why not use that in court? Once Biden is done serving as commander-in-chief, somebody want to sue him, I would just put right-winger after right-winger's television testimony. My client is not necessarily there. He's in mental decline. Look at all of these respected Republicans agreeing to it. And I would just use that. So I don't know if going after Biden in court will have any decent outcome once he's left the office. Looking in the comments, the Democrats had a good day. Biden is the only person Trump could beat. So how is that a good day? If Biden is the only candidate that Trump would have a victory over, which obviously didn't happen in 2020, that would require some explaining to do. But if Biden is the only guy that Trump can beat, not only does that not explain 2020, but that also makes Trump look pretty damn bad. So, because you're basically saying Trump would lose to everybody else, which means Trump is not doing a good job. He just happens to have a weak candidate. That's what it sounds like you're suggesting. Going back to the box, keeping it moving with Gandalf history. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. 80,000 is possible. Gandalf, how can Biden restore his image?
Handsome, it's a pleasure to be on your program again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Biden can't restore jack crap. He's so far gone that he needs to be institutionalized in a nursing home.
Wait a minute. Wait, now I'm willing to buy into the possibility of cognitive decline, but you're putting the man on hospice. You think he's that far gone?
Man, I'm telling you, I've worked in nursing homes in my youth. I've had patients that look 10 times better than he does.
Wow.
They could run for president. If Biden can run for president, I got about 100 people that I know personally that could run for president. This guy has no business in office, and Kamala Harris is no winner either.
Well, that is as far as Kamala Harris and what she could do, that's to be determined. But in regards to Biden's cognitive.
Get on their knees. We know that.
So then let me go ahead and deflect. If Biden and Kamala, whatever, Kamala, am I pronounced that? Kamala Harris. If both, you are driving a hard bargain today. If both of them are unworthy of the office, how do you respond to folks that would say, listen, your guy has 91 felonies he's facing. Maybe he's not capable of being president either.
Okay, I'll respond to that. Look, you have the whole world that despises this man, Trump. All right, pretty much.
Why is that? Why is that?
Backtrack that.
Why is that?
The entire Democratic Party and some Republicans that despise him because he wants to make this country great. All right, let me give you some examples. When he was president, record unemployment for blacks, 4.5%. That was put out by labor statistics.
You do. Wait, hold on. I'll let you continue. I'm not going to limit your time, but you do understand the unemployment rate for blacks right now is even better than it was under Trump.
That's nice. I am grateful for that.
You said that's nice. Okay, keep going.
Opportunity zones through Tax Cuts and Jobs Act passed in 2018, which helped Black Americans a lot. And I don't call them African Americans because most of you guys are not from Africa. You're Black Americans, and I think you should be proud of that. Also, HBCU funding passed in 2019 permanently funds annually $255 million. Critical justice reform, which freed over 20,000 Black Americans. Also, in 1966, Trump is responsible for funding the International Freedom Games for Martin Luther King. One more thing, and then I'll listen to you. Donated while he was in college. Well, actually, the 1966 thing, that was while he was in college. In 1997, donated his office to Jesse Jackson so that he could run for president. This man does not change his colors. He changed his views because this is a republic that we live in, not a democracy. A democracy is something that... Okay, now you went down a laundry list specifically targeting minorities, if not blacks, in referencing things that Trump has done well for blacks, which will lead to the obvious question. If he's done all this stuff, why would anybody think he's racist? What you didn't do... Because they're trained, brother.
Well, hang on. I'll let you get your point across. What you didn't do is go over any of the counterpoints, such as he has a history of losing lawsuits showing that he will not rent to black people. That's an actual lawsuit he lost. They were putting colored people on the application and not renting to them. You didn't cover the Central Park 5, which I just talked about at all. You didn't mention that Trump supported Rudolph Giuliani's stop and frisk, which the city of New York admitted was wrongfully mistreating the hell out of black people. You didn't mention the same thing about Sheriff Joe Arpaio doing the exact same thing to brown people down in Phoenix, where Sheriff Joe Arpaio was going to go to prison for violating folks' civil rights down in Phoenix, and Trump pardoned him for it. You didn't mention that Trump thinks Black Lives Matter is a terrorist group, which the African American community overwhelmingly supports. And last but not least, get that son of a bitch off the field in regards to Colin Kaepernick. Any idea why none of that came up when you were giving them accolades about black people?
Do I get to respond to it?
The floor is yours.
You got a guy that's 61 years old, so his memory's not really...
wait a minute. You're using Trump as in cognitive decline as a defense. Keep going.
You know what we did in the 60s, all right? In the 70s.
What, he been in Woodstock? Did Trump get too high at, what is he, Willie Nelson now?
Trump never did any of that stuff.
Keep going. Go ahead.
So he's got all these cases against him because they have to
throw it. Nancy Pelosi said it herself, Handsome, if you remember this. Throw as much crap at your opponent as you can and see what the people will believe, all right? And you have the Democratic Party. This is what they do. This is what they do. If you remember, right, back in when the Civil Rights Act was passed, it was passed by conservatives. LBJ just signed it.
Gandalf. I'm not going to limit you, but you're not answering anything I said at all. You're deflecting your ass off. Go ahead.
Let me go back to the Central Park 5, all right?
Sure.
We'll hammer that one out. All right. During the Central Park 5, 4 out of the 5 said, hey, we're guilty. We did it. So after a bit of time that went by, they finally came out and said, oh, yeah, we're innocent. And they did find the guy. He was Puerto Rican. He was not black, which doesn't matter. Everybody in the entire country, because these young adults said that they were guilty of it, the entire country said, well, let's do this to him. Let's do that to him. Trump was no different.
What? No, wait a minute. Trump took out a full-page ad in the New York Times. You're telling me the entire country was taking out ads talking about they should be... Trump said they should be hung. You're telling me that was the norm?
Because of what they did to this young lady.
Should Trump apologize now that it's been corrected?
That's a good point. That is a good point.
Why? But hold on a second. While you're giving me credit for it being a good point, understand Trump, not only did he not apologize, he doubled down on it. He's still defending his statement.
Right. The Democratic judge, the Democratic mayor, the Democratic lawyer that were involved in incarcerating these people never apologized.
So let's hold him accountable and throw them under the bus with Trump. But that doesn't excuse Trump.
Let's give him time to see if he's going to do it. If he doesn't, this is not.
Give him time. They're all over TV. They got a movie dedicated. How much time do you want to get them there?
This is not a thing that stops him from running the country well. I think he's made up for a lot of this by what he's done for Black America while he was president. Now, you can nitpick anything. You can nitpick Biden.
Yeah.
You can nitpick
True.
Obama. But, I mean, I didn't say anything about what Kamala Harris incarcerating so many Black Americans in California.
But that's the point I'm trying to make with you, Gandalf, is that we're talking about Biden's... Hold on, hang on. We're pointing out Biden's crime bill and how many African Americans suffer from that. You're pointing out Kamala Harris and what she did. But when I mentioned stop and frisk and what that's done to Black people and Trump supporting and pardoning folks that was doing it, you kind of went over it. Why is that?
It brought down crime quite a bit.
So did the crime bill.
You remember the Mario boat lift? You know about that?
No.
Where we brought in, where Cubans came from Cuba and they emptied their prisons and brought them here, where crime went up 75 to 79% when the Cuban refugees came. What do you think's going to happen when, as Biden is letting all these people in, 8 million so far, if crime went up because we let 150,000 Cubans in, what do you think it's going to do when we let 8 million plus into our country? This is something that Trump wanted to stop.
Okay.
And he did while he was president.
So do you believe, in regards to giving Trump credit for trying to stop crime, do you believe that majority of the immigrants coming to this country are rapists and murderers? Mexico is sending us their rapists. Do you believe most of them are rapists and murderers?
I'll say it just like Trump said it. at the end when CNN cut it off, he said, "I'm sure some of them are good people," but nobody heard that.
So, okay, let's go with that. Right, let's go with that. So they're not sending us their best and brightest, they're sending us their rapists and murderers, but I'm sure some of them are good people. So in other words, you are fairly certain a large number of them are rapists and murderers, but you're kind of shaky on if any of them are good. You realize how that sounds?
Shaky at all. I'm not shaky at all.
That's what he said, though.
But I'm not shaky at all about it.
But you do understand how some folks can...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say you do understand when you make a statement like that, like Trump did, not you. You say you're just a citizen. We're talking about the president of the United States or somebody running for the office. When you say they're not sending us their best and bright, they're sending us their rapists and murderers, and you follow, well, I'm sure some of them are good people. You're basically saying a large majority of them are rapists and murderers. Do you believe that is true?
I believe that we are in trouble because...
That ain't answering the question. That's not answering the question.
Do I believe the majority of... Well, let's take, for instance, the Mario boat lift. Like
That's still not answering the question.
Went up 78%. 35% of those...
Gandalf, you're bringing up the beginning of... Gandalf, you're bringing up the beginning of Scarface. You're going over back to the early 80s with the Cuban. What I'm asking you is, do you believe... the majority of the immigrants coming here from the southern border are rapists and murderers?
I believe at least 25% of them are probably criminals.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And if that's the case,
because it was about 25, a little less than 25% of the Cuban refugees that were criminals.
Right. All right. And if that is true, then there would be a strong reason to support Trump and getting him out of here. I don't believe the numbers are that high, but I can certainly understand why you think the way you do.
Problem with them coming over, Handsome? I have a problem with the way they're coming over, all right? And Mr. Biden, I will not call him president.
Damn.
Mr. Biden invited them. He invited them.
All right. I do got to move it on, Gandalf. Spirited debate. You're always welcome back. My door's open anytime.
Best show on here, brother.
Wow. Thank you. Appreciate it, Gandalf. Anytime. Going back to Z-Box. If I can get this TikTok to act right. I do appreciate you folks that are tuned in this Friday. Happy Friday to all of you folks, by the way. If you enjoy civilized conversation from both sides of the aisle without any concern as a host limiting, censoring, or banning your time, you're in the right place. Follow the program. Tap the screen. Perhaps on TikTok, we're close enough we may actually reach 100,000 likes if you let your thumbs not be lazy. And certainly on YouTube for you folks. Appreciate the subscriptions. Click the like button. You know how it works. Helps out the algorithm. Let them talk. When they let them talk, they will show their card. Yikes. What that sounds like it means, if I give my humble interpretation, is let a racist speak. They will show you how they feel. Maybe I'm wrong about it. That's what it sounds like I'm being told. How the hell do you know if majority are criminals? They are not vetted. They came in illegally. That's the point, says Leo. Fair point that you don't know what's coming in your country if you don't vet them. But if you go by that standard, then you would remove the asylum claim 100%. Because many folks coming into the country are under a situation where there's no way to vet them. If you're coming from Somalia, Yemen, Venezuela, countries that have no government in place, there's no way to vet them. There's no way to vet them. So it would, if I can't vet you, you can't come in, would essentially eliminate the asylum method of coming into the country. It would kill it. Just like, let's say, for instance, somebody was to defect from North Korea and try to get into America and say they're seeking asylum because of how the North Koreans have treated them. How are you going to vet that person? You think North Korea is going to give you the data on whether they have a criminal record or not? You reach out to Kim Jong-un, fuck you. We want our citizen back so he can lock his ass up. They're not going to talk to you. So you would essentially eliminate the ability to come here via asylum completely, because nobody's going to tell you that. Most folks who are leaving countries claiming asylum, the country is angry at them for doing that. So you would kill that. Looking in the comments, close the border and be done with it, says Vigil Nunali. Here's the problem with closing the border. This is something you often hear on the left, and I tend to agree with it. You can't bitch about people coming into this country, changing, as Trump says, poisoning the blood of this nation, when we have a history of doing that to every damn body else. America has more military bases on every continent than any other nation on earth. We're in the Middle East, we're in Africa, we're in Asia, we're everywhere. But we want to close our border. Do you realize how that sounds? If we let them in, they're going to change our country. What the hell you think we were doing in Afghanistan? Women should vote, women should be able to drive. I agree with that, but that's not our nation. What have we been doing? We made it so that Saddam Hussein no longer exists. That was their leader. Now that country has a fucked up government because America we don't want nobody coming in our country, yet we're doing that to all these other countries. Why do you think they're coming here? Perhaps it's because of how America has sanctioned these countries south of the border and destroyed their economies. They're coming here because we're one of the only good economies left in North America. They were doing fine. You think they really want to come to America, a country where we don't want them, if they didn't have to? A lot of it is because of how we treated them in the beginning. So we want to go tear these countries apart and then ignore them when their citizens come and ask for help. Because that's why it's happening, folks. That is why it's happening. Looking in the comments, call your congressmen to vote for the bill. That ain't gonna happen because, as folks have pointed out, Trump does not want that bill passed. It would probably be too beneficial to Joseph R. Biden. Tap the screen, over 100,000. Thank you. Thank you for you folks that are tapping the screen. The Humble Trucker. Love the name. Used to be an over-the-road driver myself. How can Biden restore his image? Humble Trucker, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Nance. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Is there any way Biden could restore or improve his image that he's an old man in cognitive decline? Yeah, big dog. Thank you.
I don't know that you can reverse what nature has in store for all of us. You know, obviously he's old. It's apparent he is. You know, some days he's there. He's quick. He's fluid. Some days he's not.
Now, while there is this huge push to go after Trump for violating the 14th Amendment, the Republicans are suggesting going after Biden for age, cognitive decline, Article 25. Do you see Biden as declining so much that he should be literally disqualified by law from being president?
I mean, I feel it's kind of a tricky subject. You know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander is always a good place to start. However, you know, I mean, he's on TV saying, I'm well enough, and in the same stroke, I forget so much I let you ask the questions.
Well, you know, I think what he said in regards to speaking to, I think he was talking to Steve Ducey of Fox. Now, if you've watched these press conferences enough, you'll know that Steve Ducey from Fox News, his father, I've actually met his father when I was at Fox and talked to him, but Steve Ducey actually is known for asking trip-up gotcha questions to liberals. So what he is saying is, if my memory was so jacked up, I wouldn't let you talk. Because I know you're going to ask me some, like Trump was known for not giving time to folks he thought was going to ask him negative questions or questions gotcha. He wouldn't even talk to you. Biden in his administration continues to work with Steve Ducey. So I think he was actually doing that to be sarcastic.
Okay, well, maybe that one went over my head. A lot of things go over my head, you know.
Hey, same. It happens to me too. So I'm not special to that.
You know, I don't think Biden can necessarily reverse, like I said earlier, what nature is doing to him and what it'll do to all of us. Yeah. You know.
Do you see Trump?
Have a great run.
Do you see Trump in cognitive decline at all?
Maybe not decline, but not competent to begin with.
You don't see Trump as fully competent?
I mean, I personally think it's a weird spot to be a businessman trying to get into politics so late in life, maybe.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, maybe there's some pros and cons to it, but
Who did you vote for in 2020?
in 2020, I actually did not vote.
2016, Trump versus Clinton.
2016 was Trump. Absolutely, that was the first year I actually voted as a legal adult. So
Yeah, but you didn't give Trump a second chance in 2020. Why not?
I was out over the road, couldn't make it home. Kind of just needed to stay out and work.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I've been an over the road driver, and coming home you don't make any money. But I want to ask, so if you had been home, would you have voted for Trump?
Well, I think in the state of Oklahoma where I live, they don't put any third party, any independent, nothing else on the ballot, just Republican and Democrat. Back then, it could have been a 50-50, Trump was trying to get a second term and Biden was coming in. There's a lot of things that could be considered great or maybe not so great for both of them.
But you don't sound sure, Humble Trucker. Now, you voted for Trump in 2016. He served until 2020. And this is, folks feel a time we had a great economy, great jobs. In other words, you've heard my last caller. He believed he was doing superstar shit for the black community. Yet you seemed like you were hesitant after him allegedly doing all this stuff to give him a second go round. Why were you hesitant of Trump? Do you not think he was a good president during this time?
I mean, I can't say he was great, but I didn't like, he's a hothead. He's always got something to say, and it's not appropriate. That you're the man or woman that's supposed to be leading our country. Grow up. Act like a grown-up.
Wow. So
you're over here tweeting mean things, getting mean tweets said at you, throwing fits.
Wow.
Like, come on.
So so considering that he hasn't stopped any of that, is it safe to assume you really don't want him to be president again?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. I wish the Republican Party would, get somebody else up there and stop this foolishness with, he's a savior or something. He's not Hitler to Germany. He's not going to be our savior. Life's going to continue to suck.
Damn. So what do you think America would be like if he was reelected?
It's hard to say, but I feel like he would probably come back with a vengeance to everybody who he feels has, done him wrong.
Yeah.
He's, like I said, I'll revert earlier, we got to be a grown-up. You're leading the country. And we're a superpower. We're on the world stage. Like, we don't have time for drama, bunch of nitpicking. Oh, you did that, I'm going to do this. It's critical choices. Our soldiers' lives are on the line. America is on the line. So. Yeah.
All right. Now, because you lean right, there was a host of other choices. Who might you have favored? Vivek, we had Ron DeSantis, we had Chris Christie, got Nikki Haley, governor of New York, or of North Dakota. There was a host of other folks. Mike Pence. Did you favor any of them?
Yeah, and Vivek, only because he's a little younger. We need to get some new ideas, maybe some more progressiveness in there. From the younger generation, all these guys are.
Wait, you see Vivek with some progressiveness. You see,
not his ideas progressiveness, but just younger generation starting to come in.
Okay, so it really sounds, and I had another caller that said the same thing that you did, and it really sounds to me like you guys like his policies but don't like the rhetoric. So because Vivek ain't offering you nothing that Trump is not offering. So but he's not doing all the tweets and all the other stuff you talked about. So you favor Trump, you just don't like the drama.
Right, like it's hard to respect a 70-year-old man that has such strong values. He acts on them like a child.
Wow. You're not the only one that feels that way. All right, Humble. Appreciate you coming on. That's a good perspective. I think that's very common among traditional conservatives that are not necessarily fans of Trump. I think a lot of folks feel like you do. Appreciate you coming through.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you.
Absolute. Looking in the comments, and that would apply to the Nikki Haley's, the Chris Christie's, the folks that my beloved MAGA don't like. They have the same opinion that he has. that Trump's policies, Trump's direction for America, they favored. They didn't like the drama and the rhetoric that orbited around his presidency. And it still orbits around him. It orbits around him to this day. Now, I know if you're on the MAGA camp, you believe Trump's a solid guy. He's a good guy, that drama is just finding him for no reason at all. I can't, speak on that, but I'm just simply saying a lot of Republicans, traditional conservatives, think just like my last caller did. Real quick in the comments, thank you for the level of respect you give in your lives. Jason, thank you for being here. Appreciate your support. Appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. 115,000 likes. If you let your thumbs not be lazy, certainly appreciate you folks on YouTube. Feel free to smash that like button. Helps out the algorithm. Certainly a subscription if you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle without the host trying to interfere. You don't have to like Trump. You just have to like his policies. Democrats caused all the drama, says Jody on YouTube. Barack Obama was born in Kenya. You telling me Democrats caused that drama from Trump? Now, Trump caused a lot of drama on his own. Ron DeSanctimonious. You telling me Democrats or never Trumpers caused that? Nikki Haley's a bird brain. No, Trump is causing a lot of his own drama. My war heroes don't get captured. And that's where I think there's a difference between the mindset of traditional Republicans and MAGA. Now, notice I'm not talking about liberals and progressives or Democrats at all. I'm talking about traditional Republicans and MAGA. Traditional Republicans feel Trump did a great job like my last caller did. But they don't absolve him of responsibility for the rhetoric and chaos. MAGA believes Trump hasn't done anything wrong, and folks are just messing with him for no reason at all. That's the difference. Like my last caller said, Trump is basically a good guy. The rhetoric's coming from Democrats just making it all up. So it's a difference in that. Looking in the comments, Trump made enemies, not friends, said conservative Rich. Conservative Rich, wow. I agree with that. I could not disagree with you that Trump made enemies, not friends. Simply put, Trump promised to come into Washington and drain the swamp and made it clear that he kind of felt like everybody there was a swamp creature. You certainly aren't coming to make friends by saying something like that. I often use the example, if I was to apply for, a job at a police department, and I tell the lieutenant, if you hire me on as a sergeant, I'll help you drain the swamp. I'll name names and help you get rid of all the bad cops you got on the force. And I'm saying that in front of all the cops on the force. If that lieutenant makes me a sergeant, you think I'm not going to have problems with all of the beat officers? You think they're going to want to work with me? Well, I don't already came on and admitted I'm a snitch on everybody. I'm going to view everybody with a negative aspect. Yeah, you're going to have problems. That's how Trump came on the scene. He literally criticized all of Washington. Even right now, he's saying they don't like me because I'm an outsider. You're going around bragging that you're not one of us and then complaining why we don't like you. I don't know if that makes any sense. But that's what he's doing, is he's saying, I'm not a good old boy. I don't play politics. All of you guys are trash. Why won't you work with me? And folks on the right, particularly MAGA, seem to see validity in that. I don't know where else to go with it. But looking in the comments, Trump ran because he wanted more business for his family. Well, his daughter has done very well. 26 Chinese patents. I'm assuming she's making a killing. I mean, she made good money from her husband. Jared Kushner made a good money from the Saudis. I mean, it is a success. But Trump has paid a huge financial toll for running for office. His finances are not likely to recover unless he wins. If Trump loses in November, I won't quite put him down with Giuliani and Mike Lindell, but he has lost a lot of money. I mean, Giuliani and Mike Lindell are damn near impoverished because of what happened. Why do Republicans choose bad nominee? Uncle Ricky. Galaxy. Damn, I haven't seen one of those in my Uncle Ricky. Thank you. I don't know if I would say Republicans choose bad candidates. Trump is not a traditional Republican. If you're saying that Trump is a bad candidate. Looking in the box, appreciate you folks that are holding on. We'll go straight back to the box and ask that question. RDL, Romeo Delta Lima. How can Biden restore his image? RDL, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, handsome.
Appreciate you
Man,
coming.
I love your show. I love you. I love listening to you every day.
Wow. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
I think you're the most honest, open-minded guy on TikTok, really.
Goodness. Thank you.
And, you're talking, I think the only reason Trump ran, I think Obama caused Trump to run for president.
Chris Christie said the same thing from that correspondence dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
But is he really that much of a snowflake that a little bit of roasting make the man decide, I got to take his job down and change America?
Oh, my God. Hey, Obama toasted his ass. He didn't roast him. He toasted his ass.
Yeah, it was bad.
And with his narcissistic mind, he was never, ever going to let that go.
Wow.
That man ain't never going to forgive Obama.
That man, I will agree with you that if you cross Trump, he takes it personal. He's not like, you see Michelle Obama and George W. Bush hanging out and in public. Once you cross Trump, you're done permanently. There's no, unless you come back and kiss the ring, as Rod DeSantis said, because.
His ass, Ted Cruz.
Yeah. So.
A lot of the Republicans, from back in 16, man, they got their head up his butt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
but despite the narcissism and the demand for one-way loyalty, would he actually be a good president? A lot of folks say that he, Biden, the economy, the border, the world affairs that are taking place, that when we had Trump in office, we weren't dealing with all that.
To be honest with you, I think if Trump would have kept his mouth shut, and he probably could have been a good president. I mean, he got hit hard with COVID. That destroyed his presidency.
But in regards to him getting hit hard with COVID, if you had to give him a letter grade like we got back in high school, A, B, C, D, or F, how would you grade Trump on handling a pandemic?
Not good. No, not good at all.
We didn't get a grade of not good. I need a letter.
An F.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he come out lying about it. He started out the whole thing. He just lied about it. He tried to cover it up. He tried to lie, and then he tried to cover his ass. And when he said the guy from China, I really think he's handling it well and all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden it was the China virus.
Now in the comments, Bear Creek Landscape says Trump did not lie about COVID. So for the audience at home, what did he lie about?
Well, there's only 15 people that have it, and they're getting what they're going to get. They're going to get better. It's going to go away by April.
Yeah, he did say it would be gone by April, and he had no reason to say that. I just wanted to make sure you illustrated it, but yeah, he did say that he thought it would be gone by April, and some say it's no worse than the flu. He was making statements literally with no scientific backup. He was saying things that he thought the people wanted to hear to encourage folks.
That's what he always does. That's exactly what he does, and that's what he does today. Even to all these Trumpers, man, they think that this rich man cares about them. Oh my God, they got another thing coming, man.
But you got to admit, a lot of folks believe under Trump the economy was better than it is under Biden.
I think the economy was doing good. That's what I said. I think he could have really done great. I mean, I think he probably would have won again in 2016 if it hadn't been for COVID.
Yeah.
I believe that. I didn't vote for him in 2016, and I wouldn't have voted for Biden either. But it was just, to me, it was the worst of the two.
Well, speaking of the worst or the lesser of two evils, you're going to have that chance, looks like, to make that same decision again in November. If it's a rematch, where's your vote going?
Well, it has to go to Biden now because I think Trump tried to commit a coup.
Damn.
Oh yeah, he did. I mean, he had all these. He tried to. He's talking about the election was stolen. That's his narcissistic behaviors, man. He just couldn't accept losing. And he I think he tried to commit a coup, man. He really did.
You know, a lot of folks keep suggesting that there wasn't weapons and all. They go, how could it be a coup when nobody brought weapons and things like that? How do you respond to that?
There was weapons. There were weapons. They just thought it was going to go better than what it did. They had weapons in a hotel. The Oath Keepers. In a motel room, they found all kinds of weapons they had there.
Yeah.
It could have been a lot worse than what happened. But you know what? I watched that whole thing that day, and my stomach was turning, man. My heart was hurting.
Do you hold Trump? So obviously you hold, because some folks will say that, look, Trump told them to go peacefully. These were adults that decided to act bad on their own. So you hold Trump responsible for that. Trump
incited the whole thing. Trump was screaming that the election was rigged in April of 2020. Way before.
That would have been like almost now, saying it. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, exactly. If he loses now, what do you think he's going to say? What the hell do you think he's going to do?
Yeah. Is there anybody out there? I guess I would ask if amongst you folks in the comments by way of yes or no. If Trump loses in 2024, for MAGA, I'm going to add the God forbid for you, MAGA, if he actually loses in 2024, how many of you believe that he would say that the election was stolen again? If you believe he would use the same thing again, say yes. If not, no. I'd be curious to see that. But I tend to agree with you that if Trump loses, he's probably going to say at the very least some fraud was taking place.
Oh, no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Wow.
Look what he tried to do with Mike Pence, I mean, these people were screaming, hang Mike Pence, and he told Mark Meadows, well, he's getting what he deserved. Well, at least that's what they said.
Yeah.
He said.
Wow.
I don't know if he really did say that. But then again, you know what I believe? I do believe Trump gets a lot of crap thrown at him, too, that really he shouldn't.
But can you do what Trump did? Do what Trump does without receiving a lot of crap? Because he slinged, Colin Kaepernick, get that son of a bitch off the field. That ain't got nothing to do with him, or Black Lives Matter is a terrorist outfit. He's getting involved in fights that ain't even at the presidential level. Can anybody do what Trump is known to do without receiving a lot of mud slung at him?
Well, no, not especially in that high of a position. You can't run your mouth like that. You don't talk that way. A president should never. Obama never talked like that. Yeah. I'm sure until he roasted Trump. He toasted Trump.
Yeah.
Donald Trump's done, man. He just he ruined his own chance at what he had his chance and he ruined it. I think he just ruined the whole thing.
I don't know. I can't totally agree with you. Biden had a really bad day yesterday. You don't think that hurt him?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, if it comes down to Trump and Biden this time, he might win.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say he won't win. God help us if he does.
I see somebody in the comments said the same thing. All right, RDL, your comments echo a lot of folks, particularly on the left. Appreciate you coming in. Anytime.
Hey,
always welcome.
I appreciate you pulling me up. I've been requesting a few times, and that's like I said, man. I think you are the king of TikTok, man. I listen to a lot of lives too. I do listen to a lot of lives, and I won't name any of them, but they get controversial and they yell and scream back at the people like me, and mute them and just talk crap to them and that ain't no way to be, man. Let's be civil.
Appreciate it.
Civil with everybody.
Well, I definitely appreciate that recognition. Yeah, anytime. You'll never be talked down here, regardless of your point of view. So appreciate you coming in. All right. You're welcome. Looking in the comments, the polls have Trump ahead of Haley and Biden. You rhinos and liberals are going to be sad, says the cosplay new. Could be. That could actually happen. But I will say this. If Trump becomes president and there's a host of liberals and rhinos or never Trumpers, as you call it, on the Republican side, how much can he really accomplish? I think that's I think that's the short-sighted viewpoint that a lot of folks don't realize, is that the founding fathers set this country up to have a checks and balances type operation. A dictatorship is not the way this country is ran. So if you become president and you're calling everybody rhinos, and I mean, you need their help to get your legislation through. You can't do everything on executive action, or the moment you leave office, you're crying that all of my policies got thrown out. So if it's one thing someone like Trump needs to learn, and my beloved MAGA needs to maybe push him along and help teach him, is that you need to work with people. Unless some dictatorship type action takes place, you got a max of 4 years. People are not going to work with you on a liberal side of the aisle or even a traditional conservative side of the aisle if you're constantly treating them like shit and telling them they're less thans. That needs to disappear. Obviously, folks that support Trump, I'm not talking about traditional conservatives, but folks that support Trump, that lesson doesn't seem to be sinking in. That I believe that if Trump gets elected, he can make this country great again while calling everybody names and shit. That ain't gonna work. Have we not forgot John McCain repeal and replace Obamacare? He got up there and gave a thumbs down and destroyed Trump's legislation. You don't think that was personal? With Trump saying my war heroes don't get captured and attacking? You're not going to do much. How many folks right now to this day believe that Trump could have been the greatest president we had, but they never gave him a chance from day one? You think on day 2, when he's calling everybody rhinos and names, that he's going to give him a chance again? Why isn't that sinking in? That for me to make the country great is going to require the Senate and Congress to work with me and help me enact my legislation. They're not going to do it with you treating them like shit. All it is, fuck your feelings. You should ignore the name calling, pay attention to what I do, not what I say. You've had about 7 years. He came down the escalator in 2015. So 9 years. You've had 9 years of evidence to show people are not going to ignore that shit. Why keep trying that? Nearly 10 years out. Are the names, the insults, are they really necessary? If you could get the country you want, you could get the policies you think are best for this country, but you had to give up the name calling, would you not make that deal? Is the name calling that important that you're willing to risk it all just so you can call your enemies the names you want? Because there is no denying that is one of the biggest thorns in the side of the Trump presidency and the administration. Even among the Democrats that do not favor Trump, when you ask them why they're not going to vote for Trump, that's almost the number one thing that comes out, is the chaos, insults, and name calling. It's not $2 gas or the lack of global affairs. It's the name calling. Yet for some reason, folks on the right, my beloved MAGA folks, think that this is a great thing to keep doing. Bird brain, yay, let's cheer it on. Call a former sitting governor a bird brain. And MAGA thinks that's a great idea. As if Nikki Haley has no supporters. I don't get it. Ron DeSantis, one of the most victorious governors in American history in Florida. Makes sense to call him Ron DeSanctimonious, to say all kinds of names about him. Why isn't that sinking in with MAGA? Why isn't that resonating? That's not helping the presidency. Now, surely you can't stop Trump from saying whatever the hell he wants to say. I get it. But you don't have to cheer it on. There's no shortage of MAGA that hear Trump's insults and then they start using them. I would submit to you that if you Googled bird brain, it's probably trending because now they're all using it. How could that make sense to full-grown, voting, politically astute Americans that name-calling is a good idea in politics? It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I appreciate the 134,000 likes. You guys have a good weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. YouTube, definitely appreciate the viewership is going up. Appreciate you folks that have been smashing the like button. Certainly a few subscriptions have been coming in. Always a pleasure. Haven't been able to reach your comments as much because YouTube on a tablet doesn't seem to work right. I'm MAGA and I don't like the name calling. But how come Biden calling us terrorists doesn't get brought up? Damn sure it does. I've brought it up and I've seen other liberal programs bring it up. So, but you make a good point. Your point is not ignored. It's well taken. Fair enough. Nevertheless, I appreciate you guys tuning in. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. See you tomorrow.